I know this is like a week late to the topic. Regardless, I want to talk about it because stuff like this really boils my blood. Twitch, as a business, is run by an absolutely moronic, stupid, lobotomized goldfish who cares more about partying instead of ensuring that the streamers working on Twitch are safe. Honestly, I wasn't going to make a video on this because I thought it was already being covered enough, and I didn't really need to talk about it as such. But after seeing how the festering dog feces that is the Twitch CEO responded to how Twitch streamer Emiru was quite literally sexually assaulted, I feel inclined to say something about it on principle alone. For those who don't know what I'm talking about, allow me to give a brief summary. Emiru is a pretty prominent streamer on Twitch. She was doing a meet and greet at the most recent Twitch convention when some random creeper waltzed past several Twitch security guards into her panel and literally grasped her face and tried to kiss her. TwitchCon security did not make any efforts to stop this whack job. It was only when Emiru's personal bodyguard saw what was happening and intervened, pushing the fucker off of Emiru. The offender didn't even meet any resistance on his approach to Emiru. None. Fucking zero. Absolutely fucking zero resistance from TwitchCon security. There's another video of him just waltzing out of the convention. No cops, no attempts to stop the fucker. He just fucking walks out and disappears into the sunset. There's a whole video on it happening since there was someone recording her panel, but I'd exercise caution because it is actually quite disturbing to watch. At least it was for me. What is exceptionally fucking appalling is that after that creepfuck assaulted Emiru, he was basically allowed to leave the convention without intervention. It was only after Emiru's own manager called out the management of the convention and that anything was done. And what was done? Oh boy, Twitch really threw the book at the offender. They really cracked down on him, and it was fire and brimstone raining down on him, the likes of which had never been seen before. They banned him from the Twitch platform for 30 days. Yeah. Well, gee golly, Twitch, what a fitting punishment. I'm sure that creep shit will learn his lesson after that. Jesus Christ, dude. You know what's worse? What really puts this into perspective? While that same freak walked away with just a 30-day Twitch ban, Twitch permanently banned Emiru's previous bodyguard when he stopped a similar incident, while the perpetrator of that incident walked away scot-free. Emiru did make a statement after this, and she said something that I think is very important to point out. Emiru is a very big streamer on Twitch. A lot of people like her and watch her content, thus a lot of people will go to her meet and greets. A lot of eyes will be on Emiru simply because she has a large fan base. The important part she talks about is that smaller streamers are far less likely to have someone just recording their meet and greet panel. Far less likely to have groups of people around their panel at all times because they don't have as sizable an audience. Emiru points out that if this can happen to her, how can smaller streamers even begin to make the claim that they have gone through the same thing when there aren't enough people to corroborate those claims, like the fanbase of Emiru can hers? That is a question to keep in your head and be mindful of. But back to the Temu brand spaghetti hair goofball that is the Twitch CEO, Dan Clancy, and his god-awful response to this entire Emiru incident. I'm just going to go down a list of what he said in his initial response, which is really just one thing that he said. And before I go into this, let me just say, I don't give a flying fuck that he apologized after his initial statements, because that apology reeks of nothing more than damage control and trying to get people to shut up about this incident. The initial response is what he really thinks. He even took some time before he responded. So fuck his apology. Anyway, here's some of what he said following the assault on Emiru. Quote, and I quote, I do think that when you're live streaming, in many ways, since you can control the community and can ban people, you can make it so that those people that you don't want engaging with you and participating with you aren't there. End quote. My brother in Christ, what the steaming nuclear fuck are you talking about? This is basically a huge beat around the bush to say that this is Emiru's fault for not recognizing a creep in her community, and by extension, saying it's also her fault she was assaulted by said creep. What? Was she supposed to retroactively know that this guy was in her community prior to her meet and greet? Was she supposed to predict the future to circumvent this guy trying to kiss her without her consent? And even if she could have predicted the future, how the fuck would banning the guy from her stream stop him from coming to the convention? What fucking type of fucked up dimension did you escape from, Dan Clancy, to even think that this response was anything but fucked? This absolute goober of a CEO then went on to say that his company is the leader in helping creators, which, based on what just happened to Emiru, on top of all the shit that has already happened regarding Twitch, is so blatantly a false statement that it insults my brain cells. Dan, you basically responded with defensiveness and deflected everything because you are just not that great of a person. As Emiru was assaulted, you were out partying, having a great time, enjoying your night while yet another one of your creators gets harassed in some way due to your company's absolute negligence. In fact, given what we know to have happened to Emiru's previous guard, I'd even go as far to say as that you encourage the behaviors of creeps and weirdos who prey on creators that use your platform. Because why the fuck else would you punish someone who does their job to protect a creator from such people to the fullest extent possible, but let the offenders walk away? Jesus Christ. All in all, I really hope Emiru recovers from this and can move on with clarity and can move past any kind of harm that this has caused her. That's far easier said than done, but all the same. Now, I know about the whole Mizkif thing as well, which seems like a pretty messy situation all around, so I'm not going to go into detail about that, though I will agree that Mizkif is a very unlikable person. What I'm pissed about, though, is the Twitch incident, because it shows utter disregard for the content creators and their safety. Again, hopefully Emiru can move on from this and the other struggles she's currently facing with relative ease. It absolutely sucks that this happened to her, and I can only hope that the offender gets what's coming to him to a degree that is far more satisfying than a 30-day Twitch ban.